Welcome to the Lighthouse Experiment, a Freedom Center Church podcast.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I think that even though I deleted stuff, my computer didn't recognize it or Zoom didn't recognize it. So then I had to shut everything off and redo it.
Okay.
So I'm good. I've even tried to record it to, like, as I'm doing stuff, to an external hard drive the other day, and will only let me choose somewhere on my computer. It won't let me choose an external, like, hooked up thing. So I'll figure it out. It'll be great. But okay, well, welcome back to the Lighthouse Experiment Podcast, everybody. Welcome back.
What's up?
Yours truly, Chaplain Jim Parkin, and co-host
That's it. There
Ashley
we go.
Chandler. Yep. I have to retrain myself to do that properly.
So I snuck in to church on Sunday. So I was in the building.
Ooh.
I was over sitting behind Brian and Tracy, like 3 rows back from Brian and Tracy, or a couple rows back.
Okay, first service?
Behind Sylvia and just got ducked down. Excuse me. So I was there when Pastor Jim did the thing, was talking about Memorial Day. And, you know, everybody who knows me know that that's what I do. My answer is my pleasure.
Yep.
When people say thank you for your service. What's funny about that is now, like, most medics and EMTs and cops and all that stuff I know have adopted that practice.
That's cool.
My pleasure.
Well,
it's just easier, you know, it just rolls off the tongue. It's easier than looking at your toes. But what's funny, so he went into the thing about how last Veterans Day, how to get me, had everyone stand up, except for veterans, and had us sit down. So on Sunday, I almost, when he's like, we're just going to, everyone sit and clap, I almost stood up and was going to tip my cap to him.
That would have been phenomenal. He would have laughed so hard. Dang.
I should have.
I know.
Because he would have laughed. So
it's all right. There's always next year. There's always Veterans Day coming up.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Anyway, good message though. I like the season we're in, man. I like
really
it.
Good. Me too. I like it a lot. And it's
like,
funny because God, I mean, He said before, like, God, you speak 1,000 sermons. You know, I'm speaking the message, but you speak exactly what needs to be heard to every heart.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's definitely a season where I show up every week and I'm like, this is like just for me.
Yeah.
Like Jim's been scoping out my life and then just has a sermon just for the Chandlers.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
that's what it feels like.
You know, and it's like, if you're listening and if you're paying attention, all the things, you know, even things that I've shared with you guys over the course of the weekend, it applies to what you're doing. You know, it applies to being like, not necessarily like, maybe it's different for you and for like, and as it's different for you than it is for Nick. Maybe he's motivated to start a new job and do the thing, you know, and he's like, but for you, it's like we talked about from that Kai Garcia video, it's for you, you're like going to be disciplined and do the thing out of obedience, whether you like are, hey, I'm 100% down to leave all this stuff behind and go do this, even if it's a short season right now.
Right.
But it's cool because there's all those little things that speak into it. But if you're not listening, you'll miss it. And then, like, you always got to be, like, that's the thing. Like, for me, when people have been like, well, where was God when XYZ? It's like, well, I mean, he was right there, but you were looking in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
But like, if you, that's the thing, man, when it comes to that and obedience and Christianity, you take your eyes off God, dude, and he'll juke.
Well, and here's the thing.
He'll put that move on and you'll be like, oh, I'm 100 miles down the road going in the direction that I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, but. Oops.
Well, and rewind a couple of years ago when we were going through a lot of health things in my home.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick was really, really working through some anxiety, some depression, like couldn't leave the house for a few weeks, struggled to get in the car and go take an errand, like full out anxiety attacks and stuff like that. Couldn't go to church, had a real hard time being overstimulated in that atmosphere and stuff. So, you know, and just a few months prior, heading into the new year, you know, there's always this big push on praying into the new year. What does God have for you the new year? So, you know, before all that's going down, I'm getting excited. New baby's getting bigger, not so hard. You know, we're kind of coming out of the water with that a bit and everything. So I'm excited to kind of be a real person again, you know, because we love being out and doing stuff with people. I love being engaged in my community. I love what so many people are doing, and just, you know, our church being such an entrepreneur church, all these ministries that have, you know, like, yeah, you're supposed to go do this thing, go do it. Like, just so inspired and encouraged. I love that about our community. So praying into that, okay, God, what do you got for us, you know? And God in that time was just like, no, you just hang out right here. I'm like, well, that's dumb, you know? And then fast forward a few months, and as Nick's working through stuff and we're trying to figure everything out, now I'm understanding this is why you said, wait here. This is why you said, be patient. This is why you said, just wait, just be present. And in that time, really coming face to face with this feeling of God kind of asking, like, who are you going to be during this time that you don't like? Like, who are you going to choose to be in a season that you didn't want, you didn't expect, and certainly isn't the easiest thing you've ever come across, you know? So now fast forward back to present, I've gone through just enough to know the difference between going through something wholeheartedly, like what you said, like, don't have one toe so far off and, you know, trying to stretch it out, trying to, like, do the thing but not really have your heart in it. Like, how can I be fully present, fully taking something in and owning it, so that I come through this who I'm supposed to be, not more bitter, angry, frustrated, you know? And then selfishly, it's like, okay, this is all about me. My husband's struggling, and I'm throwing a little adult fit because my life isn't the way I want it. Meanwhile, my spouse, who I've, you know, committed to love and cherish and be with and really come alongside, I'm just going to throw my own fit because you're struggling. Like, what type of team is that? You know, what type of love and honor is that? You know, I mean, there's so much
sickness and health part that we all say in our vows. We're like expecting that no one's ever going to be sick. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're young. And then, you know, you start doing all this comparison gaming, you know, and so it's just like, okay, God, like, I don't have to compare. I don't have to be, just be grateful. It could be this, it could be that. No, I know, God, that you are so concerned about every detail in my life. So let's just meet that face to face. Let me just see you face to face, and let's do the business that I need to do right now. So now in this season, it's, okay, who do I want to show up as in this season?
Yeah, man.
I get to encourage this other person to go do something bravely, to go take a job in another state, to go leave their family for 3 weeks and have to set up all this stuff, and trust me enough to drive kids down and do all that. Like, I'm at this place now where I am fully confident that I can do this, even though there's some details, there's some extra effort, but also, like, kind of what we talked about the other week, like, the game kind of leveled up a little bit. So there's this excitement of, like, I can do this.
And think about this too. This just dawned on me while you were talking. Think about this. You've been around veteran and first responder wives now for how long? Was this like
for 5 years?
Right. And so you've been engaged with we'll take my wife.
Yeah.
Who doesn't worry about what's going to happen shift to shift. She doesn't, because why, like, what worry? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
If I go and there's a fire or something, or some dude goes buck wild with his rifle, whatever. It's not like whatever like that, but it's just there's no point in her spending energy worried about what's going to happen during the 12 hours I'm working.
Yeah.
She's never once asked me to do my job less. COVID, she said the words, "I don't want you to die," for the first time, but it was more like, you need to do no shortcuts.
Yeah.
You need to do all the things. It wasn't like, "I'm afraid that if you have a COVID patient, you're going to die." It was like, you need to like freaking make sure you do all the things that protect you and us from this thing.
Right.
Which is different than being, "Oh my God, I'm scared, I can't." You know what I mean? That's just her. And this, for if the way I have to say this, some you might not understand it, but like first responder wives will, that's her managing me. Sometimes she has to manage me because my focus is so much on service and just doing the thing, that sometimes I need my wife to come in behind me, like, "Okay, you
but
need
we
to
do that for each other. That's how that's supposed to
dial in."
Yeah.
So, but I say all that to say, you're ready for this because you've been around people who send their spouse on deployment and handle all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you've been, and maybe all of this has been the buildup. Who knows? God does what God.
There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of things that I had to take care of and build that competency for on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
like you were saying before we started, what'd you do? You went out, you shut down all the power so you would know what to do, and you figured out the generator. Yeah. Even stuff like that seems like whatever, it's a generator. But
I know how to do it.
But now you know. Now you can do the thing.
And Colleen and I pulled it up around the yard and put it away because I wanted to feel what it felt like.
Right.
To even just mechanically put it away. That gave me so much confidence. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, these are the things. Man.
Yeah.
These are the things in these seasons where you have to, like...
Yeah.
And, honestly, I think just kind of being around us and seeing how KP engages with me and does a thing and like has to, and let's be realistic. You guys had a season where Nick was struggling and you had to do some extra stuff. Well, she has to sometimes be able to function at a different level because she doesn't know which gym's coming home. What did I deal with last call?
Right.
What was shift like?
Right.
Like, if I'm not in a space to engage right away with the kids, she's got to come in. You've done that. You've done it already.
Yeah.
It looks different because it's not first responder stuff. It's not,
right.
But it's the same thing. It's just...
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It's cool to have challenging seasons, I think. I wouldn't want a life without it. I'll tell you that much.
And it's cool on this. I mean, I will say that the other one was, there was some, like, we had to take care of that stuff. And we're still building those skills. We're communicating better. Just simple things of being able to read each other and being able to put words to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always been able to say that Nick's my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just some guy I'm married to that I deal with, but I sincerely love being around him. But we are so completely different. We're knit together completely opposite of each other, it seems like most days. But we still, just the way that we've grown up and learned to kind of deal, there was still so much that we just didn't communicate because we just didn't want to put that on the other person. So learning in a good way what to co-share in that, even if it's like being able to walk in the room and be like, okay, what just happened? You look like you're a little overwhelmed. And him be able to just kind of own it and say, yeah, this or this, and just be able, then it kind of brings us in more.
Right.
And it's just a different framework now than what we were even operating off of 5 years ago. And now, because of that, I feel like I know him that much better now, and I know that I feel that I can support him and meet his needs like in a whole way better than what I felt like we were able to even just a few years ago. So it's really cool. So now doing this, I feel like I just feel more excited for him. I feel like that we're on just a better communication, and I'm just excited now. It's not like all these, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? It's like, oh, I guess we'll cross all those bridges when we get there. Let's just focus on having some fun and gaining from this experience what we can. And being able to now in that turn, being able to look at my teenager and being able to keep having those conversations with her, telling her like it just
when it comes to details, sometimes less is more.
Sometimes less is more, but also being able to reaffirm her that, okay, mom and dad may look like on the outside that everything's cool, but also giving you space that this is a lot of change. We're feeling all the change, but we're focusing on what we can control and making the most of it. Because he also, I mean, so we, you know, it depends on the day, but even Saturday, he, you know, trying to give her a lot of grace, but he straight up told her on Saturday, like, you need to stop being selfish. We're all making sacrifices. We're all doing the best we can. And you can't go through this whole season just being angsty and grumpy because life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. So, you know, trying to do all the things, you know.
Yeah. It's cool, man, though. Changes, excuse me, like, and like while I've been talking and getting all set up to record tonight, I'm just realizing, like before we started, we were talking about like one door has to close in order to go. But there's often, I found myself in the past few weeks, like I was standing in this weird in-between vestibule, if you will. Like I shut the door on one season or chapter, and I was like in the kind of the waiting room, getting ready for the next one, you know. And it's just wild because all the things that I wanted for this podcast and this ministry and for house church and all the stuff, and I've been like praying, like, dude, what is the holdup? I'm finding now that like God was in the next room, like we're in here, man. It's just like, just come through.
Hey Jim, come in here for a minute.
You know what I mean? Just let yourself open the dang door. And so now we're in, and it's like I told you, it's like creatively all the things, like all the dreams, all the things that I've wanted to do, that I've just been like, and like I've said before, Swartz was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the compound here, like that is all built up during my time at Swartz, all the things. But seasons change, and the mission changes, and with that obedience piece, like I don't care like what or who the job description is or provides it, when the mission changes, you like, as a believer, for me, I have to go with that mission. Have to. You know, I'm learning that there was some parts of it where it just had me kind of held down, like believing that I could never leave. Like my skill set, this is the only thing I know how to do, and I only know how to do it here. You know, so it's wild to just, you know, to make that step. And there's a split second, I'll say this too for the airborne guys, there's a split second on a tethered jump where you step out the door and are hoping to God that the chute opens. It doesn't take long. It's like literally like 1,000, 2,000, poof. But like, but there's just that little,
where you're waiting for it.
You know, and I think that's the same feeling anybody has when season is changing, when the mission's looking different, where the, you know, the geographic location is going to be different. There's that second where you're stepping through the door, you know, where you want to be stalled out. Because like, honestly, you probably stalled out a little bit when you first got this knowledge that you guys were making.
Oh yeah.
You're probably
we
like,
decided
jump
we
master.
decided on
think...
a Monday. Oh yeah, no, Nick called. I wasn't even home from Holland. I was still on the girls' trip in Holland, looking at the tulips on the other side of the state. Nick calls me. He's like, "I'm taking the job." I'm like, "Okay, we'll make it." You know, there's 100 questions. We don't know yet how it's all gonna look, but yes, we're gonna try. Yes, we're gonna go for it, and yes, we'll figure it out as we go. And then the course of the week was like, oh crud, oh crud, oh crud, oh crud.
Real.
You know, it was just like all this stuff. And then I did that for probably a good 2 weeks. Running, trying all the scenarios in the head. And then I took a Saturday for literally about 3 hours and typed it all out so that I could get, okay, I think I'm going to do this here. I think I'm going to make these dates here. I think that this is, and I just started making the decisions that I knew that I wanted to hold to. Like one decision, I know that I want Kalina to still go to senior high camp because that was something I already signed her up for. And I want to make as many reasonable accommodations for all the kids so that they don't feel like everything is up and removed from them. So just even that. But yeah, there's been days, it's probably like a few days, and then there'll be an evening where I'll start getting ready for bed and I'll just feel like my heart sink a little bit and it'll feel a little bit more real. Like that Sunday over the weekend after Memorial Day, that was one night where I'm like, oh, Nick's leaving this week. Like, it's okay, here we go. This is go time. But at the same time now, the last couple days, probably today and yesterday are more like, okay, I'm done talking about it. I just want to go do it now. I'm like, I've been talking about it for so dang long. Now I just want to clean my house and leave. Yeah, it's just time to go.
It's time to do the deal. I would say, man, because you will, there obviously everybody goes through it anytime you're like deployed or on whatever, you know, like there's just little tricks and stuff like that. Like what I would do, I would write down whatever it was Melanie, what Mel said to you. I'd write that down, man, and have it in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just for those days where you're like, this is some BS. This is not what I signed up for. Just remember, like, there's somebody could be out there waiting on you to show up. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my gosh, that totally blew me out of the water. I'm like, oh my, I've totally been thinking it from one perspective, and then she totally like just
thank God Kelly Abel came to Michigan. What if she was like, nope? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I was like, forget it. I'm just going to stay forever. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to make this move. It's safe. It's the safe thing. Just
what if you sat around talking about this podcast that you were never going to pull the trigger on for 5 years?
Right. Exactly. What if I just don't do the thing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what if I don't take the risk? And then there's none of this. If I don't take that risk, you haven't been around my wife and other veteran wives and first responder wives, and you haven't built this low-key skill set that you didn't even realize you had yet. And, you know, and then, you know what I mean? So, like, there's so many things that we have to just suck it up when it didn't feel good. Like, it did feel good to do a letter of resignation, but it didn't feel good.
Yeah. No, I can relate with that. Yeah.
We're over here and it feels like we're going to thrive here and, you know, at MMR. But at the same time, I'm watching this company that I spent 18 years at starting to struggle a little bit more. I'm like, tugs at my heart.
Yeah.
But I got to make this move. If I don't make this move, there's somebody in this place I haven't even met yet who needs what we're doing here and doesn't even know that's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I feel like when it's time to make those moves, we have to make those moves because, like, this will sound crazy, but because of the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't do the thing, then nobody's connected. You know what I'm saying? And like, if we're not obedient in what we're supposed to be doing, what if nobody, this is a crazy thought, but what if everyone just played it safe? Like, what would, one, first of all, we were given a mission, but two, you know what I mean, as believers, we're given a mission that we're supposed to do the thing. And if everybody was just like, you know, we have friends that are out of country now. Well, multiple friends that are out of country. You know, there's this beautiful baby boy that doesn't get adopted. There's a family that's supposed to be all over the world doing the thing. And if they're like, well, it's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's not fun. That's uncomfortable.
No. And one of the first things I thought of was all the lonely, broken people that don't get somebody to come alongside of them.
Right. You know, I said it because I couldn't be at staff meeting this week because I had driver's training.
Okay.
But Pastor Carl's like, anything you want to convey? I was like, yes, all kinds of opportunities just with this new door opening. But I shared a thought, and it's something that I fall back on and I think about a lot. And that the enemy of the world obviously is, you know, kind of personified as lostness, as like being lost people. And the lost will take that first hand that reaches out for them. You know what I'm saying? So like if we have the opportunity, and this kind of ties in with the season Freedom Center is getting into, we have the opportunity to be first. You know what I mean? And if so, we can, like you said, there's some young mom, and she's going to be in where you guys are going to Fort Myers, and she's doing her thing the best she knows how, but like, this is too much. I don't know how to schedule all the things. I don't know how to deal with my angsty teen, you know? And then here comes Ashley that's going to be like, let me tell you about how I really didn't want to have to leave Fenton, Michigan, but now we're here and we're doing the thing, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like for me, there's people in this organization that I work for now that don't know, at this point, don't care to know the gospel. You know, and I'm not going to go in there preaching, like, you know, Bible in hand, yelling and screaming, but just by being present, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's imperative. Like, it's not enough just to be, I said this prayer and I did the thing and I show up on Sunday and now all's good.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to be like, really, remember back in the day, the What Would Jesus Do bracelets? They're so stupid. But you remember them?
Yeah.
You remember that people wear
I had one. I had a white and green one.
WWJD, man. But like, this is what he would do. He would go down to Florida. He would go to a different company where the mission was.
Yeah.
That's what he'd do. You know what I mean? So I just think it's...
Well, I think too, you know, there's something that one of my coworkers and I were talking about today, specific to Prison Project, but, you know, she was even talking about foster care. You know, she had mentioned, you know, that'd be something she'd want for her future, to foster care or adopt. And she's been told on a couple of occasions, well, you know, that might be kind of hard, you know, just be, you know, whatever. And it's this whole idea of like, how inconvenienced am I to go serve another human being that had no choice to go through the hardship that they went through.
Right.
And so kind of in that context, you know, when we look at being obedient, like Christ gave the ultimate sacrifice. Like how inconvenienced was he?
Dude.
To go leave the Father, to go live this life. And then we're asked to do the same in whatever that looks like in our own life. You know, it's kind of like to get myself out of the way.
Yeah.
To go, you know, put me aside to go do what ultimately, like, you know, and all these things, like I told you, even when this all, you know, when we first decided, like, I know that God would ask me to do something that wouldn't be good for me and bring him glory.
Right.
So it might not look like the way I think it's going to look, but I know at the end of it, like, God has good things for me that are,
Right.
maybe they're tangible. They're probably mostly intangible.
Right.
You know, this stuff. And then to go be able to walk alongside somebody else. Because, again, like what you said earlier, it is priceless to me to have the friendships and the people in my life that have walked alongside me and given me hope and strength and encouragement when I needed it. So to go do that for the next person, like
Now
what
it's
you
your
said
time.
earlier, like I got next.
You're up.
I'm up.
You got next. Yes.
You know,
You've waited,
so
whether you think you have or not, man. Like I've told you a bunch of times, my whole life will be waiting on that grenade to jump on. But like to be able to have next, to be able to maybe not just be on the side being the cheerleader, but actually, now you're gonna dig in and do the thing. It's cool.
It's really cool. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I can that much more, like so much better, really just root my spouse on. Like really like champion him to go do something. Like 2 years ago, Jim, 2 years ago he was on his first flight since he had his minor seizure when we were dating in 2005. 2006. So, I mean, just the leaps and bounds that he has overcome being able to travel. And now he's going to go fly on his own tomorrow night. When he said for years he'll never fly again.
Yeah, I know. He said those words to me directly.
Right?
That won't happen. Yeah.
So, and then go, like, support my kids in a way. Like, there's so much stuff that we're just taking ground of. And it really is exciting. And again, I love what you said the other week. Like, we can't be resilient unless we don't give ourselves the opportunity to build that resiliency.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I trained all last summer to go hike 3 days on the Appalachian Trail. And Chuck Kova just shared the other day, and I went and did a trail with him, like a 3-mile trail or something beforehand. And looking at that picture, I'm like, that me has no idea how much I'm going to rock it out on that Appalachian Trail with my brother and the whole comes a few months after that. And now I feel that type of thing, like future me is going to be so excited and proud of this me right here and all the crap I just accomplished, you know? So, and my kids, and to be able to speak that into my kids too. Like, do you realize how brave and incredible you are to go do something this big? Like, you guys are little, but you're still brave. And so we had a special family dinner last night. Just kind of last, like, nice dinner before he flies out tomorrow. And I told them, like, I asked him, like, who knows what Daddy actually does? Like, what his title is and what he's actually going to do. Because then that was kind of fun, too, to see, like, what Isaac would, respond with and stuff. But then just reminding them that our job is important, too. Like, how we do this as a family, how we show up for each other. Like, we're doing a big thing, too. And our job in that way is really important also. So, and I don't know as if I would have taken the time to do that a few years ago. You know, I see so many things differently now. So.
Yeah. All good stuff, man.
So do you feel like you're still in the vestibule? Or do you feel like you've come through that door?
We're in, man. We're in. Like, big things, like big stuff. It's just so much weight off.
That's awesome.
So much, like, I want to come home and do, like, get the compound right and get stuff done. And whereas before, obviously there's a lot of, like, there's no other way to say it than just to say it. and we like, COVID, that season really effed me up. Like, that, it messed me up bad. You can edit the effed up part, but it messed.
Oh, you didn't swear. It's fine. I'll leave it.
It messed my head up, like, bad. Like, to have that many people I know die, and to, like, and have all the extra chatter and all of it, not just actually dealing with patients, but all of it. And so I'm, like, moving companies and all, like, kind of just fresh start and stuff. I'm in a good place where, like, now I'm more in the, okay, we all made it through this thing together, and that's good. And it was good Like the things we did were good things. You know, it's how soldiers look at past wars and combat. What we did was good. It's like what after the exfil from Afghanistan, there was a lot of bummed out guys because like, what were we here for?
Okay.
You know, it's like being able to look at those scenarios and say, whatever happened with the upper leadership and the government and all those weirdos, what we did at our level was good.
Okay.
And we made it through and we're going to be okay. And so I'm good in that space, and I'm good that we made that decision to move. It's good that it's my partner, he'll flourish in this place and he'll become a great medic, you know, probably better than me, but building off, you know, like I'm his floor and he's building off me, you know, but that's what you want. That's what leadership is.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, all of it, man, it's all good. You know, it was hard to like go through the door, you know, go through the first door of I'm out. Yeah. This chapter's over. It's done. But to go through the next door and just like embrace it was also a little sketchy. But, you know,
you did it well. Good now. You did it well.
You know, and of course, anyone who's seen me, the different grooming standards, this is amazing. This thing's not even, it's got some, we'll put some more time in. It won't be like the full magnificent Brian Holcomb beard that once was, but it'll be a few inches longer probably. That's all good, man.
That's dope. Yep.
So
I got about 3 weeks, so I feel like I'm still kind of sitting in that doorway a bit. So I'm trying to stay present while I'm here, because it's still, I got some gates to kind of cross through, and I gotta do that well so that I can do the next one well.
Yeah. What I would do, I can offer some advice. I would write down what Mel told you.
Okay.
Now just keep in mind that it's a good mission. Write that down too.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm sure there's going to be, like you said, a little bit of a honeymoon period where I'm going to get down there and be like, this sucks.
Right.
You know, like if there's few hard days where like everybody's having a hard time.
Everyone's a mess. Yeah.
Yeah. So
just keep that, man. Keep that. Write what she said and put down, this is a good mission. It's always, because overall you can do that. That will make it okay. And you can just focus on not all the little details, but that it's still a good mission.
Yeah.
Works every time. We used to do that in deployments. It's a good mission.
Okay. I'll do that when I get off the episode tonight.
Dick.
Be good.
Well, all right. Well,
cool.
That's all we got.
Oh, one I'll do just a reminder for anybody. I just thought of it while we were talking tonight. FCC is doing a Kids Explore Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Week of June 13th, I believe it is. It's every night in the evening, like 6:30 to 9 or something like that. So get on Freedom Center Church's website. I'll post the link in the episode notes.
Good time.
Even for kicks and giggles. What?
It's a good time.
It's super good time. My kids love it. It's
obviously not as a camper, weirdos.
It's 4-year-olds through 11-year-olds, and they're doing like this whole science, like explorer, like it's a VBS, like a vacation Bible school, but it's all sorts of like science experiments and stuff outside and everything. And so they have a big, huge party, grand old time. So your kids will absolutely love it. And it's a wonderful opportunity to go on multiple date nights.
This is what you do, man. I'm telling you, we haven't in a couple years, but we used to run the whole VBS circuit all summer long, just running date nights, dude. They were in VBS, date night. So what's up?
So good.
So many.
They're having a blast. You have a blast. Have you ever seen the Hotel Transylvania where they're like on the cruise ship?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the werewolf parents go in to like drop all their pups off the cyclone pups to and they're like, you're gonna take our kids? Like, why? And the fish guy goes, so they can have a great time and you can have a great time. I'm like,
That's
yes!
VBS, dude.
It's VBS. So they have a
good.
great time. The registration link, it's free. Sign them up.
Oh yeah, man. And they're gonna do what do you call it?
Donations.
There you go. But they do like offering for the offering for the kids, they bring in stuff and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
like for
things and
Claire's
whatnot.
Hope, they're doing like baby diapers and all sorts of
dude.
stuff for like the kids' first night overnight bags and stuff. And then there's a bunch of like individually wrapped snacks and things. There's a list of items that will be for Lighthouse Experiment.
Yes.
You didn't tell me that, so I read the email
My bad.
and I'm like,
I've been working on this, dude.
I'm so excited. I'm like, dude. So I screenshotted it. I'm like, of course he knows, but like, this is so cool to see this. So I'm kind of glad that you didn't tell me.
Pastor Avery reached out and he's like, what's a thing we can do?
That is so cool.
How can we do? And I was like, man, it's just because lots of times, especially in the current climate, we can't get the food and whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone likes snacks.
Yeah.
So they're going to do, we're going to build up some snack goodie bags and stuff and hand them out to different agencies.
Be so good.
Also, they're going to do like pre-set cards and stuff for kids to fill out. Thank you cards and stuff. Yeah.
That'd be super cool.
So for you guys, for the audience, we'll have that out. I'll be passing those things out soon.
Be awesome. Awesome. So yeah, that's
maybe not Cliff bars though. Those things are gross, but they'll be good.
Cool.
Anyway, all right. So, good episode.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good episode.
All right. Super fun.
All right. So, thank you, of course, Freedom Center and Kingdom Builders for your continued love and support. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you for our listeners, especially.
Yeah.
Like from 1 to 100, it doesn't matter. We dig doing the podcast. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.